Can't see my
No,
own video.
I see. Yeah, I see you, and I saw you drank your coffee.
Okay, okay. But I can't see, usually I can see my own screen, you know, but it doesn't matter about that. Yeah, it's rather hilly, yeah. Now I can see myself again. Yeah, my glasses reflect the light, I'm afraid. So yeah, no, Albina said, asked me if we agreed I would record it, but to be honest, it is more work to record it than just to do it live, you know. And yeah, thank you for letting me go on first, because then I can go to bed afterwards. That's fine.
Of course, you worked hard the whole night to prepare, to perform us your experience.
Yeah. Well, I did do this presentation fresh, but just today. I did it today. But it's been ideas that have been in my head for weeks and months, actually. So I hope it will be of some interest. You know?
Of course, especially about IELTS is always interesting.
Well, it's not direct. Well, it is about IELTS, Assel, but not directly about the detail of IELTS. It's things I've learned about English teaching that as a result of IELTS. So it is relevant. Some of it will be relevant to IELTS, but relevant. I've tried to make it relevant to all teaching.
Yeah, all English thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay.
Very valuable experience in any way, valuable knowledge. Yeah.
Well, who knows?
Because we learn, we teach, and we learn all our life.
That's true. That's true. Lifelong learners. Yeah.
So you don't see yourself? Do you see me?
I do see everybody now. I changed it to the gallery view. Now I do see everyone. Yeah. So everything's okay. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
So you're going to speak. You're going to introduce the conference and then introduce me. Yeah. Okay. And I'll be able to share my screen. Yeah, I can share my screen. Yeah. That's fine.
Now I will welcome everyone. Yeah, show my presentation. Then I will introduce you and do your stuff. Yeah.
Okay, great.
So I hope. How many of us?
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, hello, Alexandra. Hello, I see there are 23 participants, yeah, over there. 23 out of, as I remember, 73 or 72. Maybe just 2 minutes. We need to wait.
Good morning, everyone. Good night to Robert. I guess it's just too early, and that's kind of like New Year time before the New Year, and people are quite busy. Yeah, thank you, Robert, for joining us this early or this late. I don't know which is sure.
It's okay, Albina. Sometimes if I'm watching a film late on, sometimes I go to bed around now anyway, so it's not a problem.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. So welcome, everyone. Good morning. We hope that more people will join us today, but as I see, due to this, I think, New Year holidays and all the preparation people and teachers have, I hope we will have more people joining us today. Let me try to connect.
Oh, we see you, Alina.
Yeah, thank you. So today we will have Assel opening and sharing the results of the year, and then we will have a special guest from the UK, Robert Seam. Thank you so much. It is now 3 AM in the UK. Thank you for your time coming and joining us today. Assel, the floor is yours.
Okay, so again, hello everyone. I'm so happy to open this conference. Again, it is online, and I hope then that soon we will meet face to face. Especially, we will be grateful to see our foreign speakers, Robert. Yeah, we are also always happy to see you, to listen to you. So you see the name of our conference, but as Albina told, I want to share some information about how we spend this half of the year. Yeah, so this, Alexandra, could you press the next, show the next slide? So the school year, we started with English Week Challenge 2021. Alexandra?
I don't have rights to share my screen with the participants. Can you give me?
So Albina, could you help us? Oh, I also don't have this right to share.
I'm not the organizer of this conference. That is why I can't share my screen with the participants.
Yeah. Unfortunately, me too. Unfortunately, me too.
Just a second, I'm calling the IT specialist to fix it.
While you are calling, I will continue my speech about this English Week Challenge. So many children participated, yeah, and I want to say thank words to teachers who prepared those students to participate and to perform, yeah. So more than 28 and only 16 of them got their e-certificates. What to say, please, teachers who are listening to me now, follow our Instagram feeds, yeah, Instagram posts, and do all our instructions. As we ask you, if we asked you to fill in the Google Forms, please do it, because I get information from your Google form to prepare.
You can share your screen right now.
Oh, thank you. No, it is written that I can't.
I had the same.
Алмаз, Assel'дің презентациясын, демонстрация экранын істей аласың ба? Assel сөйлеп тұрған.
I can share the screen right now. Should I?
Oh, or Alexandra. Okay, thank you. So we are waiting for the information where you can see. Yeah, like this. Could you show the second slide, please?
Okay.
Yes. Here you see the information that I just told you, announced to you. Yeah. So participants got e-certificates, but I need information. I needed information, yeah, to get. So that is why next our events, please follow all our instructions. Thank you very much. I got this opportunity to tell you that. And next our event, Alexandra, please, next slide. It was Best Teacher Award. We conducted this event, this contest for 3 months. Yeah. For the members of jury, it was really difficult to decide because you performed really excellent. Yeah, and here you see our winners. First place, second place, and third place people. Almagul Baymenova, Ekaterina Birandakova, if you are here, Galiyatu Bulbaeva, Gulnara Yakovchenko, Arman Urusheva, if you are here, my congrats, our congrats to you, you are the best, yeah, our winners. For other participants, all participants got their certificates. So, welcome to participate and win all our events. So next slide. The next event we conducted. Leadership camp, really great event, so interesting. Thank you, Albina, for giving the opportunity to people to have experience, to have a rest in such a good place like Greenwood Hotel, in the nature, yeah. So the host was Albina Kasenova. Unfortunately, I couldn't participate because I have a child. Yeah, and our respectful guests, Olga Paterova, Evgeny Tityukhin, Aygul Zhilkozhina, our Center of Methodological Help representative here, and you see our speakers. So a lot of grateful words to them. And we shared all the information on our Instagram, Facebook, on our site. So you're welcome to know about us more if you don't. So now we finish this year with our conference. And we hope that next year we will have the opportunity to to have the conference face-to-face. We are planning to have it in June. Yeah, so a lot of preparation. Moreover, this meeting will be not regional or like organized by city. No, it will be republic. KazT conference will be held in our city. So you're welcome to help us. You're welcome to participate and to perform your experience. So maybe let me finish. Yeah, let me finish. And next, Robert, please, you're welcome with your sharing your experience. Robert, we don't hear you. Switch on your microphone, please.
Sorry, I apologize. Oh, someone's already. Alexandra, are you doing the presentation for me?
Yep.
How nice of you. Thank you. Well, I believe I'm going to be speaking for about 20 minutes anyway, if not longer. So I thought I'd begin just by saying, yes, it is 3 a.m. here in Scotland. Well, now 17 minutes past 3. And originally I was going to record this presentation, but actually it's more work to record, you know, and do it that way than to do it live. And it's much nicer to be here live with you. You'll see there, you can put up the, would you click the next? Thank you, Alexandra, yeah. So, I had to leave Kazakhstan in March 2020. I went back for I've been out to Kazakhstan so often, but I went back in 2019, about September, October time, to start a small language school in Astana with Zhadyra Ibrayeva, who's mentioned in one of the previous slides in Assel's presentation, who's a good friend of mine. And Albina also is a good friend of mine. So, so I have a lot of connections, a lot of emotional warmth for North Kazakhstan and Petropavlovsk in particular. I've done some work. In 2017, I went to do some work for the university in Petropavlovsk. So it's a place that's very dear to my heart. And so at the moment, I'm back in Scotland. I teach online. you can maybe hear my phone going off. I'll just put it to silent. And so I do a lot of teaching, really all to Kazakhstan, and editing work. I work nowadays with one colleague in particular, Aliya Sanatova, who is from near Nur Sultan. So you can see there some background. I'm Scottish. We talk about the United Kingdom, but you'll know the United Kingdom is made up of several actually different nations. So Scotland is a very proud and once independent nation that I hope will be independent again, without going into the politics too much. But I was an English teacher in Scotland from 1980 to, not 1880 as my daughters like to joke, 1980 to 2000, and then I became an education advisor. And in 2015, I retired, and it's a complicated story, but I ended up working in Kazakhstan for 1 year at the Center of Excellence in Astana. I can't get used to saying Nur Sultan, I just say Astana. So I have quite a varied background then in education. And in 2019, was it, I did my CELTA. I'd been teaching English as a foreign language for some years before that. I did my CELTA in 2019. So, and really, all of the time, as I say, I went to Kazakhstan again in 2019. And really from that time till today, a lot of my work, as you'll understand, is involved with IELTS. Okay, you'll not be surprised to hear that. And that's what I'm going to talk about today, not directly so much about IELTS, but what I've learned from IELTS. But I do, you know, I do teach quite a lot of people, a lot of adults. I teach some children too. I have one group of young people, about 10, 11 years old, mainly in West Kazakhstan. And they are wonderful. They're great. I love teaching them. And I have a special colleague who helps me when I'm teaching kids. I'd like to introduce you to him. Here he is, okay? This is my special colleague, Freddie Fox. I use him when I'm teaching the children, you see? And he's quite a character. Is that right, Freddie? You like being here, yeah? Okay. He's very good. So time for bed. Okay, bye-bye. I use, you know, because I'm living on my own, I start to talk to him like he's a real person. I believe he's real. Okay, so today, I'm just going to talk about some things. Although I did this presentation only today, Alexandra, you've probably fallen asleep now with me talking so long, but could you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. And just hold it there at the moment. No, just at the title. Oh, yeah, no, just leave it like that. Yeah, that's fine. So Albina asked me if would I do this presentation. And although it's really only today that I've written it, it's been in my mind for weeks, if not months. I do IELTS from every day almost, and you're trying to help people improve their English and ultimately, I guess, be more like a native speaker. Meanwhile, my own Russian is very, very basic, you know, a very, very simple level. I can say things like ya budu vodku and so on, but apart from that, no, not much more. Okay, so I've been thinking this for a while. What is it that really makes a big difference? And 4 of my IELTS students have taught me things that I think are really important in English teaching, or they've made me reflect on things that I knew already. So two of the things are language related, okay, like what you would expect from an English teacher. 2 are wider than that, so, and are about education in general. So there's no connecting thread to this apart from my thoughts and my experiences. And I hope you find it interesting and maybe a little bit entertaining. So Alexandra, can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so first thing is be perfect, okay? Now thank you, Alexandra. So basically, something I've noticed, and the two language points actually are connected, because originally I was thinking, can I do a presentation about how to be a native speaker of English? Okay, that would be an interesting presentation. And so the two language points, the first 2 points I want to talk about, come from that idea. What is it that makes your English much more like a native speaker? And one of my students actually, I have students who don't use the perfect aspect of the verb. They don't use the perfect form, you know, present perfect, past perfect, future perfect, present perfect, continuous, and so on. They don't use the perfect form. And that limits their English. But I was reminded about this by another student, a schoolboy. Well, he's in the last year at school, and he's in Almaty, and I've taught him for several years. And he actually was overusing it in his writing. He was using it too much. And I said, look, don't use the perfect form. Just use the simple form. Otherwise, it sounds wrong. Funnily enough, he took his IELTS on Saturday. And when I was sitting in my living room just now, waiting to join the conference, he texted me with his results. So he got a 6.5, which is overall, which is what he was really targeting. So he's very happy with that, and so am I. And it didn't affect his result. So I'm just going to, so pardon me for going over what is probably very basic grammar for you. And this is the most boring and dry part of the presentation, I think. Maybe a lot of it's boring and dry because I was copying and pasting. I've also used, I'm not pretending that any of the materials here have been written by me. I've tended to copy and paste, but that might help you find sources on the internet that you can look at. So let's think about what the perfect aspect of the verb is in the first place. So I've taken this from the grammarmonster.com. It's a useful website. So why should I care about the perfect aspect? Well, as it says here, English verb tenses are very confusing because we've got, and across all languages actually, we've got not just time, something past, present, or future, but what's called the aspect, which tells us a bit more, in this case, about whether the action is habitual, that's the simple form, completed, which is the perfect form, which is why it's called the perfect form. Perfect as in complete, you know, or ongoing, the continuous form. So Alexandra, please go to the next slide. Thank you. It's slidische, is that the correct word? I should say. And more grammar, okay? So two definitions. The perfect aspect is the aspect of a verb that expresses a completed action, as I've just said. And then the British Council, oh no, please stay on that slide. The British Council, oh, Alexandra, could you please go back a slide? Thank you, just stay on that one just now. The British Council site, which I've put at the bottom there, the Learn English site, is a great resource. If you don't know it, it's a wonderful resource. It's full of all sorts of things. And they talk about, and this is the interesting thing, I'd just like to dwell on this for a minute. We use the perfect aspect to look back from a specific time and talk about things up to that time, or about things that are important at that time. And something to remember if you're teaching the perfect form of the verb and you find it rather difficult to do, a good way of thinking about it, I don't have a graphic for this, unfortunately, but the perfect form connects 2 points in time. So the present perfect connects now, the present, with something that began in the past. You know, I've cooked a lunch, or I've been washing the car all morning, and so on. And the same with the other forms of it. The future perfect connects the present with the future. And so you're looking back from the future to the present, if you like. And the past perfect connects the past with a time even further back in time. So it connects, but it gives the idea of something that's completed. In a minute, I'm going to show you, by the way, I've tried in all of these slides to build in something practical, which I'll show you in a minute, okay? Something you can use in the classroom potentially. So could we go to the next slide, please? Thanks. Actually, Alexandra, I'll just do this for a second. This is just illustrating the 4 aspects of a verb. We've got the simple and so on, right? Okay, so the 4 aspects of the verb, we talked about that. So just hold on this slide, please. This is the practical bit. So I've tried here to make the point that really the perfect form is something that if you can use it and if your students can use it, then it actually lifts your English up a bit. So here is a very good lesson that I found on the internet. Again, this is not original to me, and the references at the end. So let's just look at this lesson. So it uses a story format, okay? So you talk to the class and you tell them that you come into the class and you look rather upset, okay? And you say, oh gosh, something terrible happened, because you'd have to judge the class to make sure they were happy. This wouldn't upset them. When I arrived home, I realized I'd been burgled. I couldn't believe my eyes. The burglars had broken down the door. Now, this is about the past perfect, as you'll realize. Had broken down the door, had left my papers and photos all over the floor, had smashed a window, had stolen my laptop, had eaten the cake I'd bought for my friend, daughter, wife's birthday, okay? So that's the first part of the lesson where you introduce this idea and you're using the past perfect form there. Thanks, Alexandra. Go to the next slide, please. Okay, and the next stage is, so once the students have got this mental picture of the crime scene, you would write the first sentence up on the board. When I arrived home, I saw the burglars. And then together as a class, get the students to remember the various events, write up the list on the board. Then spend some time thinking about the form and meaning of this particular type of verb form. Do the students know the name of the tense, the past perfect? Okay, they probably will know that. Or if this is the first time you're going to teach it, you know, fair enough. But this is a lesson that clearly would need to be used, I think, once they've already been introduced to it. How is it formed? Had, plus the past participle, of course. Why do we use this tense and not the simple past in this example? Well, the starting point for the story is when the teacher arrives home from work. The burglar's actions all happen before this point in the past. And how could we tell the same story using the simple past? Fine. This is the interesting bit, the very interesting bit at the end. Why do we use the past perfect? For dramatic effect, to make the story more interesting. That's because, just hold on that slide, please. That's because you have this connection between the past, before the past in this case, and the past. It makes it more dramatic. It connects the 2 points in time. For example, you know, going back to the simple examples I gave earlier, I've been cooking the lunch is somehow more dramatic, more full of energy than I've cooked the lunch, you know. So using the perfect form, in this case with a continuous, gives things more life. Okay, Alexandra, if you can move on, thanks. The next slide. Okay, so then the last part of this lesson idea, and you'll see at the bottom of this slide, and I've sent the presentation to Albina so that people can get copies, I presume, and follow up the reference for themselves. You'll see the website I've taken it from. And this time, after discussing the language, the grammar with the students, then I like this activity, putting the students into groups of 3 or 4, give each group a situation, which are all listed below, but they should keep this secret from the other groups. So, for example, the parents arrive home from holiday, having left their teenage son in charge of the house. They soon realize he's had a big party while they were away. So you start with when they arrived home, they saw, you know, that he had whatever, and so on. And there's various situations that they all have for their group. The teacher needs to just check that the group understands And the students, the follow-up is students write 7 or 8 sentences about each situation and then pass their papers to other groups, and the other groups have to work out from the description what the original situation was. You know, for example, I guess in the party one, maybe the furniture was all upset, maybe there were empty vodka bottles lying around, I don't know. Maybe that's only in the UK. So, you know, this is quite a nice, so I'm going to move on to my next point in a minute, but just to sum up, there are many, you know, the perfect form is covered at intermediate level and above in all the language books you find. My overarching point is that I don't think people use it enough. They avoid it, in IELTS anyway, or sometimes they use it wrongly. So it's something to focus on and teach and pay attention to if you are teaching of intermediate or above, or you're teaching IELTS. And, you know, there are good resources out there to make it a bit more interesting. So that's the first of my language points I want to cover. Yeah. Alexandra, please go to the next slide. Thank you. Okay, so, by the way, I said, it won't all be me talking here. I'm going to give you a chance to be a bit more interactive shortly. The second point I want to make is again a language one, and this is again from IELTS, and it's about idioms, right? And I was thinking, as I say, about this idea of what makes your English more like a native speaker. For a long time, when I started, I mean, I haven't been teaching English as long as you guys, I'm sure, most of you. Teaching English after getting my CELTA, I mean, as a foreign language. I did some teaching of English as a foreign language before that, but CELTA obviously made a big difference to my outlook and, you know, and approach. But since I've been teaching, the start of when I was teaching, I kind of avoided idioms and thought, well, you know, you don't need to use idioms all the time. Because there is a problem if you misuse them. You know, if you misunderstand them, there can be a problem. Then I began to realize how much I use idioms in my everyday speech. When I'm talking to other native speakers, I use idioms all the time. And as you'll know, an idiom is, you know, is a saying, is a group of words that, were you to look up the dictionary definition of all the words, you wouldn't be able to work out the meaning of the idiom from that, you know, like stand out from the crowd. Who knows what to stand, it's a phrasal verb as well, of course. Who knows what to stand out from the crowd means as an idiom? Do you know what it means? Anyone? Anyone can speak up.
Yes, we know. Hello.
Okay. How would you define it, Elvira? How would you?
We can define it by word, stand out from the crowd. And also in Russian, we have the same phrasal, not phrasal, idiom.
Yeah. Can you paraphrase it in English? Can you explain in English what it means?
It means not to be similar with others.
That's right. Yeah. In fact, to be distinctive in some way. Exactly. That's right. And you have the same idiom in Russian. That's very interesting. I've noticed how often people do have the same idioms. You know, the same idiom occurs in Russian as in English. On the other hand, you have some, I know one Russian idiom where we don't have a direct equivalent, I would say, although I stand to be corrected on that. Maybe somebody can put me right. I was watching some time ago the film that was made about Rudolf Nureyev when he defected in Paris in the 1960s. And that film was called The White Crow, which I know is a Russian idiom, isn't it? Is it bele? I've forgotten the word for crow. How do you say the white crow in Russian? No one's going to help me. Okay.
Здравствуйте. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you. Спасибо, Eigenum. So, Белая ворона. Okay. So, yeah, the white crow. We don't have that exact idiom like that. Yeah. Anyway, but I began to realize anyway, after some time, that I was using idioms all the time. And I began to think, yeah, no, really, actually, idioms do really make your English more like a native speaker. The problem is finding the right materials, because there are lots and lots of lists of idioms on the internet, but it's learning about them in an interesting way. They are, as I say, so that my first bullet point there is they do make you sound more like a native speaker, but they have to be learned like any item of vocabulary. There's no magic formula. But I'm talking here. I'm preaching to the converted to use an idiom, if you know that one. Or I'm pushing an open door. That is, I'm talking to people who already know about this, who are probably very, as you've shown, very knowledgeable about idioms. But for your students, certainly, maybe I don't know what stage you would, intermediate and above, obviously. But you know, using idioms is a good thing, a helpful thing. And I would recommend, there's one book I would, oh, by the way, I told you that all of these points come from my IELTS teaching, and I associate them in my mind with different students. And one of my students, who's now studying in America, he was very funny about it. He got through his IELTS with a good score, which relied heavily on his reading and listening, to be honest. He wasn't so keen on English, but he did his best. But he knew one idiom. He learned one idiom, which was once in a blue moon. And he used to use this idiom all the time. And it was quite comical for me, because whatever speaking practice we were doing, he would always introduce just this one idiom into the speaking, but he always used it correctly, you know, but he didn't try and learn any more. He just did that. So he did the minimum, if you like. After that, so I have warm feelings about him, good memories. He was a good guy, and he still is a good guy, and now he's studying in California, so he's done all right. But another of my students, do you know about Z Library? So I wanted to, Alexandra, is there another bullet point on that screen, maybe? Yeah, there we are. So I'm recommending to you English idioms in use. And there's a whole series by these people, Odell and McCarthy, published by Cambridge University Press. Collocation, they've got collocations in use, idioms in use, and vocabulary in use for different levels, intermediate, advanced, and so on. And they're all on this tremendous area, Z Library. If you don't know it, it's really worth visiting. It's the biggest e-library in the world. It's got, I don't know, thousands of books, all free, you know, that somebody has copied and put there. And really great resources, fantastic resources. So these books are there. And I've taken, so Alexandra, if you can go to the next page, please. Next slide, I mean. I've taken a page from the book. So this is an exercise from this book I'm talking about, the advanced one. So here's a challenge for you, okay? Are the idioms, these sentences used correctly? If not, correct them. So number one, my sister is always buying up-to-minute gadgets. So please feel free, anybody can speak. Is that right or wrong? And if it's wrong, what should it be?
Up-to-date gadgets, maybe?
That's not, to be honest with you, I haven't checked the answers, but no. Oh gosh, maybe it is up to date. Let me check. Can I check the answers? I was thinking up to the minute gadgets, but I think you're probably right, actually. I think it probably is up to date. Yeah, I will not waste time looking at the answers. Who was that? Was that Eigenum? Who said that answer? Was it Eigenum or someone else? I just see Eigenum's screen lit up.
Yeah.
Okay, Eigenum, yep. Great. I will check it in a minute. But I think you're probably right, actually, up to date. I was thinking up to the minute. That just shows you native speakers don't always know the correct answer. What about number 2? I'm sick and tired of listening to him complaining all the time. Is that right or wrong? And if it's wrong, what would you correct it to? Any thoughts?
It seems that it is correct. I'm sick and tired here. We use this phrase.
Correct. That's right. I'm sick and tired is absolutely correct. That's right. There's no problems with that one. What about number 3? My granddad's always talking about good old days. Is that right or wrong? And if it's wrong, what would you correct it to? Any thoughts?
Maybe from grammar point, I would say it isn't correct because we use present continuous when something irritates us. Yeah, but in these days, in this about good old days, okay, maybe this fact irritates somebody that he is talking about these good days, old good days.
Okay, so well, it's actually you are right. There's something wrong with it. The idiom is at the end. It's actually the good old days. He's always talking about the good old days. So the good old days meaning the past that was always better. You know, you know, and people do that in every country, don't they? People always older people always look back and say it was great 20, 30, 40 years ago. What about number 4? They've been engaged for 6 months, but haven't made any plans about when they're going to tie the knots. Is that right or wrong? And if it's wrong, what should it be?
It seems correct to me. Tie the knots to be engaged.
Well, that actually means to get married. I get them. It's actually tie the knot, singular. We always say about, but yeah, to tie the knot means to get married. Yeah. I'm not sure why it means that. Maybe it means the woman is putting a rope around the man. I don't know, and round his neck. Maybe. I can say this because I'm very far away. You can't get me. Okay. Yeah, to tie the knot, singular. Yeah. I'm still looking. I want to check number 1, the one you mentioned. I've got the book on my screen, but I've not had a chance to look at the answer. Maybe I'll wait till the very end. Number 5. But thank you, Igor, for trying that. Yeah. Magda was at a loss for words when her son told her he'd quit his new job. Is that right, wrong? What would you say?
Loss without S.
No, it's Igor, that's a shame. You're the first to speak. That's good for you to try. That's excellent. Actually, it is correct. You're at a loss for words. Do you know what that means, to be at a loss for words?
Out of words.
Yeah. Unable to speak, actually. Completely speechless. You know, someone tells you something shocking, you just can't say a word. Yeah. It's what teachers never are. Teachers always speak all the time, don't they? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So number 6, engineering isn't the kind of job that every Tom, Dick, or Henry could do. Is that right or wrong? And if it's wrong, what should it be?
It's wrong. Engineering
it is wrong.
Yeah. Engineering isn't a kind of a job.
Well, no, Sauli, you're right. You're right that it's wrong, but the idiom involves the names at the end. Tom, Dick, and Henry. There's something wrong.
Can I try? Maybe it's not O, but and. But I've heard once that Tom, Dick, and Henry. It is like
no,
commonly.
Henry is wrong. It's Harry. Tom, Dick,
Harry.
or Harry could do. Yeah. Harry, Tom, Dick, or Harry. Yeah. Okay, I'll look up number 1 later. It's going to be a bit complicated to do that. So thank you. So these books anyway can be found for free. They're really good. They're really, really good. And they've got lots of good exercises. I use them with my IELTS students to supplement. I don't, you know, what I do actually is I get them to do the work at home and then I just check it in the class, you know, use them as homework. And, you know, they're well explained, very, very good books, and they're all based on current well-used idioms. Yeah. Okay, Alexandra, if you don't mind going to the next slide, please. So we've covered the perfect form of the verb. We've covered idioms, just touching on these things. Now we're going to move to 2 other points, as I say, aren't directly about language teaching at all. They apply to every type of teaching. And I said that all of, by the way, Assel, how am I doing for time? I think I've spoken for nearly half an hour, is it? Or...
Yeah, it is great. And you see that we don't follow the time. It is so interesting to listen to you.
Okay. Well, if I get too tired, then I have a colleague who can take over. He can speak, you know, as well. No problem at all. In fact, yeah. So I have 2 more points to cover. Amy, just tell me if I'm going on too long. There's no problem at all.
No.
In fact, I have 2. I actually have 2 colleagues here as well who can talk to you. They're very good. Okay, I use these with the kids. It's great. Right, so now I want to talk about a wider topic, and I want to tell you about an extraordinary student I've got, actually, without, I haven't asked their permission or any of their permissions to talk about them. So obviously I'm not naming them and I don't want to give too much information. But this lady is a doctor in Kazakhstan and she's incredibly hardworking. She's doing her IELTS, but she also is trying to do her professional English qualification that doctors have to do. It's a specialist qualification. So I usually tell her, if I go to the doctor, I usually describe how the doctor speaks to me and so on and so forth. She's very interested in that. But what I started to notice was that she would say, at the end of a lesson, she would say, well, Robert, what we've learned today is, and what I need to do next time is, or she would say, oh, right, so I want you to tell me more about this because this is what I need to know. She's very aware of her own learning needs. And it feels not like a teacher and student, it feels like 2 colleagues working together. Now, obviously that is not what you're going to find in a school, is it? Although you might actually with some students. But it reminded me of something that became very popular, if I can put it that way, very important in education, which was the whole formative assessment movement in the 2000s, coming from, you'll see at the bottom of that slide, Paul Black and Dylan William, who were the researchers who sort of said, look, you know, you've got, students must be more involved in their own learning. It's very important that they have, that the assessment that you do, the non-summative assessment, the formative assessment, should be about giving feedback to the teacher, yes, but also the student. And the student must be able to set their own goals and be aware of their own learning. And this is something that this student of mine knows about, you know, as a mature woman and a doctor, a professional, she's able to do it. But before I left Scotland, when I was still working in my old job, we'd started to implement a lot of these ideas. For example, in primary schools, when you went into primary schools, as I was doing to inspect, the kids would have little personal goals on their desk that had been taken for the week, just for the week. Like, I must write more neatly, or I'm going to try and write more neatly, or I'll use full stops in sentences or something like that in a primary school, you know? So personal target setting. This is something that helps to motivate students, you know. When I was at school as a student, when I went into maths, I didn't know what the lesson was about. I didn't know why we were studying algebra, and the teacher didn't ever explain, well, this will help you with this, or today we're going to look at this. Nowadays, it's normal for teachers to say, okay, in this lesson, we're going to look at the perfect form of the verb. This is what we're going to cover, and you are going, at the end of the lesson, you should be able to do this, okay? And if you then, through assessment, find that not all the students can do that, then that influences their goals for the future. So Dylan William and Paul Black, this completely seminal work inside the black box, where they looked at what was going on in classrooms. Actually, if Albina doesn't mind me mentioning, the very first conversation I had with Albina at the Centre of Excellence when she was doing a course was about this particular work and about the work of Dylan William, because it was very influential and still is formative assessment. So they said, and I've highlighted in bold the bits I think are really important, self-assessment by pupils, far from being a luxury, is in fact an essential component of formative assessment. When anyone is trying to learn, this is the important bit. Here we're thinking about learning in general, okay? Doesn't matter if it's learning about idioms or learning about something in physics. Feedback about the effort has three elements: recognition of the desired goal, or it could be you're trying to learn a musical instrument, you know, and you know you want to learn to play a chord on the guitar. Evidence about present position. Can I play the chord on the guitar? No, I don't know where my fingers go. And some understanding of a way to close the gap between the two. Okay, I know I'm looking at the materials, I'm following my teacher's explaining, I need to put my fingers in this position to make the chord. So that's how we all learn. All three must be understood to some degree by anyone before he or she can take action to improve learning. Now, in that last sentence, the anyone there can refer to the teacher and the student, because the teacher can help the student learn, but the student can also help the student learn. When we're talking about learning guitar, I learned guitar when I was 15 by myself. I bought a book, I bought a guitar. No one in my family was interested in playing the guitar. There was no history. I suddenly had this impulse and I did it. And in 1 year, I kind of every night, instead of doing my homework, which impacted on my results, you know, I was practicing all the time. So you want all your students to be motivated like that, but not all of them can be or will be, you know. But the more we can get students to think about their own goals, where they are now, what they've got to do to close the gap. So you can say to a student, you know, look, in this test, you did really well in these questions, but in this question, you know, you didn't seem to understand the grammar here or the point that we're covering. I think you should be trying to work on this for next time. What you want is for them to be motivated to do that and actually understand what they need to do. By the way, before we leave this slide, research has shown, you know, if you put grades or marks on students' homework or their assessments, they look immediately at the grade. If you put a comment, they hardly read the comment, they look at the grade. If you put a comment only and no grade, they're forced to read the comment. And that the comment is usually where there's feedback, they can learn from it. So we want all of our students to be like my doctor student, where they're very aware of what they need to do next, you know. Okay, thank you, Alexandra. If you can go to the next slide, please. Oh yeah, this is, oh, have I accidentally done that slide twice? Okay, this is something that Dylan, William and Paul Black emphasize, is about dialogue. They talk about questions. You probably know about this, about the concept of wait time. If you ask a question to a class, you should wait to allow people to think. Otherwise, you only ever get the ones who are bright and quick and understand, and teachers just grab their answer and move on. But so the dialogue between pupils and teachers should be thoughtful, reflective, focused to evoke and explore understanding, and conducted so all pupils have an opportunity to think and express their ideas. So it's about promoting that good atmosphere of discussion where the teacher and the student are learning together. They're co-learning, if you like. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. We can move on to the next slide. And yeah, now this is also interesting. This, I said at the start, there was a student of mine who he reminded me about the perfect verb form, but actually also he's the guy that got his results today. He also made me think about this idea, because he said to me when he came out of his IELTS test, he said, that was easier than I thought. I mean, it didn't seem as bad as I thought it would be. And I said, that's because you've been practicing so much. And when you practice, then you can do the exam seems more, you know, there are no surprises maybe apart from the questions, but a lot of it will make sense. And it reminded me about the importance of practice in education and what's called automaticity, which is pretty good for me to be able to say at 4 a.m. in the morning. In other words, things being automatic. And this is a chunk from a website, actually. It's just the idea that to do things automatically or to have automaticity, which is what we need in language learning. You know, I'm speaking in English now without even thinking. If I try to speak in Russian, I obviously have to think of the sentence before I say it, or the word before I say it. Like, it's so long since I've done it. I was following a podcast, which was really great. So I can only remember at this moment, I can only remember things like Yabudu vodku, Yabudu pizzu, and so on. But I can say those automatically. So you want to be able, and the examples given there are driving a car, speaking, walking or running. We don't have to think about how we drive our cars. We do automatically. You get funny videos on TV of people that have been filmed driving down a highway, doing their makeup or something like that while driving. You know, we've all done, we can conduct a conversation in the car, we can do all sorts of things in the car because but that's because we've practiced until it goes into our long-term memory. It's about long-term memory, and you want the language to go into people's long-term memories. So automaticity is all about learning, repetition, practice. And really, at the end there, it says this chap or lady, I can't even say the name, Segalovitz, characterized automaticity as a more efficient, more accurate, and more stable performance. So if you practice things, and it reminds us that, in fact, we're almost ashamed nowadays of talking about drilling and repeating and practicing over and over again, which is what happened when I was a student at school. And now we have to think of 21st century skills about being creative and so on and so forth. But sometimes these higher level skills get emphasized too much and we forget the basics. When I learned to play the guitar, I practiced one chord over and over and over again. And now I can play, I hope, you know, to entertain people. Same with someone that's a great concert pianist. They had to start somewhere with the basics, you know. So practicing is so important in education and learning. Can we go to the next slide, please? I think Alexandra's got, hello, Alexandra. Can we do the next slide, please? Oh, you've done it. No, you haven't done it. I thought it had changed when I was looking. Hello, is she hearing me? Ah, hi. Thank you so much, Alexandra. Sorry to have you sitting there doing that. So this is very interesting. There's a lady called Helen Abdazi. This is from an article by her. And it's so, if you read, try and look for her material if you can online. She's a brilliant, brilliant psychologist who writes about literacy in poor nations of the world, basically, and about the problem of illiteracy. And she makes the point that we need to get these kids drilling and take a long time drilling and repeating to get them to be able to read. Because now the way things work in some countries in Africa, a lot of the kids are left behind and they're just illiterate. So she talks about the process that when we're learning to read, this is just about reading, but the same idea of automaticity applies to spoken language, learning the spoken language too. So she says there that initially when you're learning to read any language, but children learning their native language, learning to read it, decode single letters and have to work and think about it. After dozens of practice hours, processing moves to a part of the brain that recognizes words as if they were faces. So when we're more fluent in reading, we look at words and we see them as we see faces of people we know. So we don't even need to think about the word, we just recognize it immediately. So multiple letters are then decoded at one glance like facial features. You know, we recognize the people we know from all of the different features on their face, their eyes, their nose, and so on. And it's the same with a word. So reading becomes effortless and automatic. We can't stop ourselves from reading, just as we can't stop the recognition of people we know. And this may happen at 45 to 60 words per minute. She says in the same article that educated people can read at maybe 250 to 300 words per minute. So this is, whether it's reading or speaking, you want to get your students repeating, practicing, so that they're secure in their learning. And this is a very difficult thing for language teachers to do. Can we go to the next slide, please, Alexandra, which I think is maybe the last slide, actually. So how can you promote automaticity in the classroom? There's lots of strategies to consider, and these include many review, refresh, recycle activities, looking back at what we've learned already, practicing what we learned last time, lots of pair and group work where students are practicing with each other, then choice, chance, self-pacing to maintain student motivation. It's a bit like setting their own goals, you know, working at their own pace through materials. Giving personalized positive feedback, that ties in with formative assessment and goals as well, that you tell students how they are doing individually, that motivates them to go on and really work on what they don't know. And finally, providing opportunities for students to transfer what they've learned to new situations. So that, you know, when I first learned the word pazhalsta, okay, it took me a long time to learn that one word in Russian, because I couldn't see a connection with English, of course, at all. And I was very proud of myself. I could say spasiba, I could say здравствуйте, до свидания. So I loved practicing those with different people. There's just one word, you know, and that's how we learn. We have to just try it out in different situations. Okay, so I think that's the end of the presentation. So really, I've just rambled on, as we say, through a lot of could you leave that slide on the screen, please, just for contact? The very last slide, Alexandra, because people may want to contact me or Aliyah. So yeah, thank you. So that's my WhatsApp number, and I hope the slides will be sent around. So these are 4 points I've kind of seen highlighted in my IELTS teaching. I hope it's of some interest. I'm not trying to say there's some big theory here. It's just what I've observed, what I've picked up. But if you want, you're welcome to contact me for further discussion anytime. Okay, thank you for the time. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Thank you, Alexandra, for doing that hard work with the slides. That's fine.
Robert, thank you so much. You're so kind. Even you gave your phone number. Oh God. Wait for ladies' messages.
Well, that's fine. I'm happy to do that. Yeah, no, it's good fun working with colleagues. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, thank you very much. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. I will go to bed now. Okay, thank you. All right, take care.
Okay, thank you very much, Robert. It was very informative presentation. So right now we have the next speaker. It's Kabdenov from Karaganda with his presentation about the effective use of Padlet board platform in the blended or hybrid learning to improve students' writing skills. So Diaz, are you here?
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, Diaz, thank you, Diaz. Diaz Kabdenov is the NIS English teacher from Karaganda, Nazarbayev Intellectual School from Karaganda City. Thank you so much for joining us, for agreeing to present today.
Okay, thank you, Ilina, and I'm so glad to be here. So, so before I start, I just try to introduce myself. I'm from Karaganda, and in Karaganda there's freezing weather nowadays, and I recommend you to stay safe and keep your warm clothes because yesterday when I accepted the offer of Albina to present one of my topics or share my experience, I was okay, but today when I have woken up, it was everything was upside down. As you see, I have a sore throat and a bit like headache, and I hope everybody is well here. And so, Alexandra, we can start. And today, I won't show you something like unusual. It's like the obvious thing. In the beginning of my teaching practice, I was the kind of observer, another observer in any like conferences. And it was just like when you got the knowledge, you see at that time, you saw at the time that that's great. But after the end of the conference, everything is just forgotten. Or you just like you told yourself, well, don't mind, I will use it. But last year, when it was like distance learning, online education, and due to the pandemic, I just realized that we have to develop as teachers, as professionals. So after one of the conferences in our department center for pedagogical measurements, they showed the different learning platforms, online platforms. And at that time, I was also another observer because I just saw it and just made some notes. And I don't know where is this notes. And after that, when I got the situation with my students, because I couldn't check their writings because they were there on the other side of the screen. I was here, and there was the kind of assignments they did it, but I realized they just used any translation tools like Google Translate or Yandex to write their essays, and then I decided to use one of the platforms to check their writing, and this was like Padlet platform. But before we start, I'd like to ask the question for you, like, have you ever used online learning platforms? If yes, where and why? You're free to write in the chat box or turn on your mic and share your experience. Have you ever used online learning platforms? Thank you. Thank you. And why did you use it? Can you tell? Silvina said that different, but you don't like it. Why? Thank you again. And can you tell tired from online? I partially agree with you, Ms. Albina. On board, yeah. Okay, and Alexandra, Ms. Alexandra, can you to the next slide? So the other poll question: how do online learning platforms affect the learning process? As for me, it depends on us, like teachers. Yes, it saves time. Yeah, of course, it's helpful. Yeah, so then you're completely right, absolutely right. If you use it, balance it.
But sometimes we couldn't check if the students are honest with us or they are cheating using some Google Translator to write an essay. So it was a kind of problem by using online learning platforms.
Yeah, of course. But as for me, I use online platforms only for revision lessons, because when you revise a topic, that is okay to check their the level of learning, and I can say it. About the difference between emergency and remote teaching. Online. Yes, even in our country, there was, in Kazakhstan, was the situation with online learning. Yeah, of course, because in some state schools, they used just the Google Classroom. There weren't like the kind of online lessons. It means like remote lessons. They just create the assignments and send to their pupils, and they have done it. And there is the case, as you said, Ms. Alexandra, we couldn't check their academic honesty. But some schools used the online platforms like Microsoft Teams or other Zoom meetings. And I can say that if the students have the proper lessons, even if it's online, they can be the kind of like the honest with us. And if they just do the task in that way, like Google Classroom, they do it like not so, how to say, in a right way. They just use the internet, copy the question, paste in the Google and find the answer, and copy the answer from the Google and paste it in the assignment. Even they do not change the font. The font is given in Calibri, but the question is in Times New Roman. So, okay, and next, Ms. Alexandra, next slide, please. So, working with Padlet, I just found these skills that could be developed in students and also in us. For example, we can develop a grammar, vocabulary, writing skills, and of course, the crucial part for us is the assessment and giving feedback. Sorry, colleagues, can you? Yeah, thank you. So, and if we discuss in any part of this, grammar, vocabulary, writing skills, in fact, these three skills is working out and developing with the connection to one another, because when they start writing, they trying to use the right grammar, the right vocabulary. But the last part, the assessment and giving feedback, is a completely different thing, because they have to understand the criteria, the descriptors, or what they are asked to write and what they are asked to show. And that's why this is a crucial part. So, Ms. Alexandra, can you show the next slide? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I'm so sorry, I have some internet connection problems. Just
yeah, that is okay. So
couple of seconds. Do you see the screen right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you present the slides? Yeah. As I said in the beginning, I wouldn't show you something like unusual. I just try to share my experience of using the Padlet online platform, and I use it for revision lesson and for checking their grammar skills. This task was the kind of short essay task. The students needed to write the short essays about the topic of perfect holiday, and the grade of the students is nice grade. And as you see on the slide, there is like assessment criteria is given and the rubrics for differentiated task. And also I'd like to note the easiest way of using the Padlet is you can share not only the link, you can share the QR code. For example, if some students use not the laptops or their devices like the tablets or phones, they can just scan the QR code using their cameras and open it from their browser. Of course, this makes this task the easiest. They don't need to copy and paste the link to the Google or somewhere else to open the. Okay, next slide, please. So this is like a print screen of my Padlet board, and like post exercise task is they finish the task, they copy and paste their essays. As you see, there is given names in the title of each essay, because the title is the same for everyone. It's a perfect holiday. And why I like this task, because in that way, all students, there are 12 students in that group, and the students can check one another, and of course they can read their peers texts. Maybe some students who struggle to write essays can understand the structure of essays, because in most cases students don't understand the teacher. That's better for them to listen to their peers. For example, the students of this era, the 21st century students, they are, they are interested in practicing more than in listening. So that is why in my classes, I always try to make all the tasks in a practical way. And of course, using the group works, pair works, and in the group works and pair works, students can exchange their points of view, their opinions about the task. And of course, they can ask their peers if they don't understand the task. Some students couldn't ask the teacher that, oh, sorry, teacher, I don't understand the task. But if they work in pairs with their peers or classmates, they can like freely ask them. And of course, if that students who's working with those ones, they can explain them the task. So next slide, please. Thanks, Alexandra. And here is also the group work. I just erased the names of the students. So like the kind of confidentiality. And here we discussed the 5 most important inventions in 21st century. And I divided the students in 4 groups with 3 students in each of them. And some students just write the names of the inventions, and some of them try to explain and define each invention. And of course, here we can teach our students to work in groups. In that way, for example, one of the students can be the fact checker, the other can be the person who's editing the text, the other one who's presenting the group. And this is also the good side of online learning, because all students are responsible and they are trying to work. And if you divide the job to them. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, and one of the crucial part of our practice is assessment and giving feedback, because nowadays most students are aware of what is descriptor and what is criteria. For example, when you're giving them the task, they are they are aware of what to do and what to give to the teacher, what to tell to the teacher. And when they are answering, they are trying to use this criteria for their answers. And if they give all criteria right, and if the teacher do not give the right feedback to the student can ask the question like, why I got the low mark? Because I just met all criteria, and tried to explain each criteria. And if the teacher hadn't created the right criteria, it would be the problem for him or for her. So that's why I do recommend all my colleagues to create the right feedback list or feedback writing for all students, because we cannot just mark them with like 5, 3, or 4, or even in the 100% percentage. We have to show them with each like criteria for each mark. For example, you have mistaken here, and you have the wrong answer here, and he or she realized it and started to rely on you, like you are a professional. That means after that, if he or she is mistaken, you will help them. And the same thing for the teachers. Yes, can provide full feedback to colleagues during the exchange of experience. For example, we are holding the different conferences, different events, and we are always sharing the experience. As I always said to my colleagues, I won't teach you, I just share my experience or exchange my experience. It doesn't mean that I am more intelligent or less intelligent than you. We are all equal, and we have to be like the one community. It doesn't matter where you are and where you are working and where you are living. You can be on the other side of the planet, but we are teachers, and we have to help one another by exchanging of our experiences. So, and can you to the next slide, Ms. Alexandra? Yeah, of course, yes, we can leave the comments to their voice after giving them. And as you see, one of my slide, I just showed the result of my work, and their students assess one another by the stars. There are 5 stars, and they just tick with the right start, like 3, 4, and of course the right comment using the criteria. And this is also really helpful for us. So in other way, it makes our practice easier. We just are gonna become the facilitators, not the teachers, like educators in the Soviet Union. And I'd like to conclude my speech with Albert Einstein's quotations. I never teach my pupils. I only attempt to provide the conditions in which they can learn. And this is the kind of credo and motto of maybe my practice. So, and thank you for such a great opportunity to make a speech in such event. And I'm really glad to be here. And I hope, and I'm looking forward to seeing you, to hearing you again in the nearest future. Thank you, Ms. Alexandra, for hosting my presentation.
Well, thank you, Dias, for your experience of using Padlet platform. So right now, I would like to present the next speaker, Zhadyra Ibrayeva from School of Parassat. She is going to talk about engaging critical thinking skills in the process of teaching English language. So, Zhadyra, you are welcome. Oh, sorry, Gulmira. I'm so sorry. So right now, our next speaker is Gulmira Yensegenova, right, with the organization of lesson study. Sorry, colleagues.
I need the screen.
Okay. Do you have the right to share the screen, Gulmira?
Not yet.
Not yet. Albina, could you help us, please?
I think Almaz should help us. Almaz, вы можете нам помочь здесь, Almaz?
Almaz, you need to give rights to Gulmira to share your screen and your presentation with us.
Alexandra, Almaz doesn't speak English. He knows Russian and Kazakh. If you can, Kazakh, please.
Так. Almaz, вы здесь?
Maybe Gulmira, you can send your presentation to Alexandra and she will share.
Oh, окей. Он пишет, я здесь. Просто я с телефона. Алмаз, дайте право, пожалуйста, на демонстрацию. Все есть. Видно? Нет, да?
Нет.
Нет, не видно.
Так, секундочку. Не знаю, почему оно мне не показывает. Даже
переправьте мне, Гульмира, тогда я просто сделаю презентацию здесь, раздам. Вот теперь вы можете, вы являетесь организатором, теперь у вас должно получиться. Попробуйте.
Какую-то еще просто. Давайте, Александра, я вам.
Давайте. Угу.
В ATENK закинула.
Какую из групп что-то мне не пришло еще или не загрузилось?
Лидеры.
Угу. Наверное, еще не прогрузилась презентация.
Все дошло.
Ага, все, вижу. Да.
Okay, good morning, dear colleagues. My name is Gulmira. I am an English. First of all, I would like you to congratulate with with coming new year and wish you all the best in the new year. Well, today I'm going to share with you the information about peculiarities of the lesson study organization. And okay, next slide. I'm sure that all of you are aware about this method or the method of the research of your teaching practice. And a lesson study is the primary focuses is how students think and learn. That's why I think it's appropriate to share this information in the section related to the learner-centered teaching approach. Okay, next slide. Yeah, some origins. You know that this method comes from Japan, but now we have several interpretations of this method. Next slide. So here we see that the first, it came from Japan. So some Japanese teachers, they organized this methodologically, and it goes far from 1984 years. Then the lesson study was interpreted in the terms of UK education. So all of us know Pete Dudley, the doctor who researched and designed some models of lesson study. And also we have learning study. So this is the same, the concept of the lesson study is the same, but it calls learning study and is applied in Australia. So I think also we have Kazakhstani lesson study because it is implemented successfully, I think, in many even mainstream schools. Okay, next. Okay. So you know that this is the democratic way of research. So we have some rigid rules how to conduct lesson study in our practice. We can observe one class, we can observe different classes, even different grades, but the main thing is that the research question should be the single for all grades. It could be the lesson study with a whole group. It means that all the department, for example, all the teachers of one subject can conduct one lesson study, researching one problem or question. Even it could be organized among several schools. So it depends on the research question again. Okay, next. how to identify the research problem. So this is the main idea where we can start from our lesson study. So there are 3 areas that we can research in our practice: affective, social, and cognitive. So it means if you have some challenges in your classes connected to some social skills. For example, your students don't want to interact with each other, or they don't perform appropriately working in groups or in pairs, you can conduct the lesson study related to the social skills. Or if you have some challenges related to some intellectual or subject skills, so it is cognitive one. And if you want to research or to improve atmosphere or in the class, it is related to affective one, or you want to make your students more self-confident in the classroom. So it means that first of all, you should set correctly the area you want to improve in your practice. Next. Well, as we have not much time, I just want you to explain how you can diagnose yourself. So I think all of you knows the balance wheel that comes from the psychology. So instead, the points of psychological items, we can replace them with the teaching notions. So here, you can, yes, make it just larger. I think the words are small, but okay, it's readable, right? Okay, look, we have some areas.
Yes, it's readable, we can read.
Okay, thank you. You can assess yourself. So you can assess yourself on formative assessment, teaching gifted and talented, teaching methods and strategies, classroom management, self-regulation skills development, social skills, differentiated teaching approach, critical thinking development in your practice. And individually, you are to assess yourself or evaluate your skills. Of course, it's like approximate. It is not like the certain scale of the assessment, but anyway, you can somehow recognize the weakest point of your teaching. And you can just get from this point and formulate the research question for your lesson study. Okay, next. And how to formulate the research question and the topics for your lesson study. So there are 2 formulas. The first is when you set the problem and set the probable solution. Look, there are some examples. For example, do the differentiated tasks increase the learner's progress? So you see in red is the probable solution, that is teaching tool or method or resource, whatever you want to try to solve your problem in the class, and in green the problem. For example, you have some problems with writing skills in your class, so and you want to try to solve this problem using one teaching tool. For example, are scaffolding strategies effective in writing skills development? Okay, so it means when you set a problem, you have an option. Either you try to solve this problem using a certain set of tools, or next slide, if you have no idea how to tackle this problem in your classroom, you can leave the question open-ended. Just open-ended question without any probable solution. For example, what kind of reading strategies improve the reading comprehension? So, in this case, when we set the open-ended question, research question, when we have no idea how to solve this problem, or when we have many tools we want to check in the practice, you see? So this is the difference. But my recommendation is to set the close-ended research question when you when you choose one tool to solve a problem, and then you can make some conclusions, and then you can end the research making up some conclusions, and then trying different tools to solve this problem as well. Okay, next. Well, the lesson study process is quite simple. So first of all, it means that when you have a group, when you have the certain focus, when you have an observation list, you plan the lesson, then you conduct and observe the lesson, and then you reflect. And the cycles, they goes like till you find the answer for your research question. Next. But the first steps are to build a team. So optional, we recommend to take no more just 3 or 4 teachers, just to be mobile in our teaching process, because it's not easy to schedule lesson study in our daily routine and our timetable. Even if you have not many hours in a week, you should be ready to be organized quickly. So as you build a team, you should, with the team, choose the lesson study topic and set its goals. Then, before starting planning the lesson, you should observe the literature and research related to your lesson study topic, because probably someone researched your question just before you are going to do that. And then conduct a survey among your students if necessary, but I think it's necessary just to prove or to justify your research question, just to make sure that the problem exists. Then create a checklist or observation table appropriately. Don't just search in the internet the observation list, because they will not fit to your research question, to your lesson study. You should do it by yourself. And then you should schedule the lesson study in your timetable. You should somehow find the correlation between your and your colleagues' schedules. Next. Okay, then you plan the lesson. So just to remind you that the lesson study focuses on how students think and learn. And the proofs and evidences of their changes in their learning are their answers, oral or written answers, but the students' answers make the thinking visible. That's why you should concentrate on how you are going to collect and gather the evidences that your lesson study research question just how you improve your practice related to your research question. Okay, next. Just some tips while you plan the lesson. Just remember, colleagues, that you shouldn't plan the whole lesson with all your group. Of course, you should be aware of all the procedure of the lesson, and you should be aware of the beginning and the end of the lesson. It means that you should have a clear vision of your lesson, but you need to plan collaboratively only a key part of a lesson. For example, you want to change something in the middle of the lesson. So it means that in group, you should all together plan only one part of the lesson when you are going to implement some new things in teaching practice. Okay. And of course, you should predict the probable effects and results of a change part of your lesson. So it means you should formulate the outcomes. What do you expect from this changed part of the lesson? Next. And when you come to observe the lesson, so it means that one teacher from your group are teaching this lesson, and the rest of the teachers, members of the lesson study group, they are to observe the lesson using the observation list. Okay, so here again, colleagues from the lesson study group, they have not to observe the whole lesson. Of course, if you have time and if you wish, you can observe from the very beginning of the lesson to the end, but it is allowed to come only to that part where you planned all together. Okay, next, you could observe only the planned part of a lesson, I said already. And of course, some rules for observers. You should be invisible and silent. It means that don't interact with students, don't interrupt their communications, don't even try to teach or to make co-teaching during this lesson. You just to observe and take notes on your observation list. Of course, it could be in positive manner, and students should know that they are a part of experiment. But teachers should say that colleagues are going to observe not the students or not the exact students, but to help a teacher to improve their teaching skills. Okay. Okay, next. What we can observe. So it depends on the question. Again, each research question has its own target focus of foci, and it depends again. But anyway, some examples. We can observe how students manage their time during the lesson, observe their pace, their engagement, their behavior, evidence of student learning, the learning environment, and so on. So it means that you observe exactly, you observe their answers. So what do they think invisible? Their answers, their performance on the lesson, and their task completion. And of course, the dialogue in the lesson. I will show you just briefly how to observe, how to make the observation list. Okay, next. Okay, as I have said before the lesson study, we should design our own checklist or observation list. So what we should set there: activity outcomes, students' reaction on the key tasks. So just remember its examples, yes? Oral responses of the focus group, general atmosphere. So even you can count the words, the amount of said words in the lesson by some students, if it relates to self-confidence, like on development of self-confidence on your lesson. You can even count their sentences, words, or write the phrases they said. And what about the focus of the students? You can write even names, not student A, B, C. So I don't like the student A, student B, but you can replace A, B, C using their names, and it's okay. Okay, next. Okay, so that's the example again. Next. And just imagine, okay, you plan the lesson, then you conduct and observe the lesson, then you meet with your group to discuss and reflect about how you succeed on the lesson study, the first lesson. Well, what you're going to discuss, of course, you're going to analyze the observation list and compare your outcomes with the real results. You should find evidence that student learning is occurring, again, according to your goals. So you should make up a conclusion of the implemented tool effectiveness. So you should say, okay, it works, or maybe it is needed to be changed again, just to get maybe better results. And you should suggest improvements to the next lesson. So you should discuss what you want to change in the next lesson. Next. Well, and you see that these steps, lesson learning, conducting the lesson, observation, and reflect consistently, research. Next. And when we can finish our lesson study. But before talking about that, just remember that your lesson study hypothesis could be confirmed or disproved. It means that even a negative result, okay, not just call it negative, but if your hypothesis is not proved while your lesson study, it is a result. It is not bad. It's just a result of your research, and you have a right to stop your lesson study and make some conclusions, and even publish an article about your research and say that this tool doesn't work in order to solve this problem. Okay. And of course, when you disseminate your results of the lesson study, you should appropriately analyze all the background of your lesson study and the results of the lesson study according to the theoretical and practical experience. It means you should study and research this question in literature to make like credible results, that your research and the results of your research are correlated with the scientific experience, maybe with some people who made that before you. Next. And if you want to continue to research this question, you can modify the research question to start new lesson study. Even you can leave the same research question, but maybe to try to find other teaching schools to tackle this problem. Next. Okay, how you can disseminate or how you can share with your experience. So at least you can write in a school account and present to your administration or maybe on the school meeting. You can publish the booklet, handbook, or some publication related to your methodological resources. It means maybe you collect some good resources and you want to share with your colleagues, so you can publish some handbooks. You can write an article, or you can even perform or make a public presentation on conference, workshops, school meetings, and so on. So it means that don't leave just your lesson study results on the shelf or maybe on your computer. Yeah, share with your experience with your colleagues. Okay, next. And by the way, so probably you know that there is the World Association of Lesson Studies. It calls WALS, and annually they conduct the global conference for those who conduct the lesson study. So here you can you can register and apply for WALS conference participation and share your experience there. Next. I think it is the last one. Okay, some examples of lesson study results. So this is mine and my group. We presented it at NIS conference. Next. Oh, okay, yes, I deleted some posters, not mine. Okay, thank you, teachers, not students. Thank you, teachers. If you have some questions, please ask me.
Gulmira, thank you very much. It was so kind of you for performing your presentation, to perform. Yeah, I know that you are extremely busy. Thank you very much. Bye. So now we are happy to...
Goodbye, thank you.
Bye. We are happy to give the floor to John Silver. You know John Silver, Central Asian Regional Director, Officer of the English Language Program at the US Embassy in Kazakhstan. John has been working in Kazakhstan for several years. Also, he's a teacher of English, as we are. Yeah, so also John had been volunteering, yeah, for Peace Corps. So John, you're welcome to our conference. Okay, yes, we see.
Okay, so I'm unmuted now. Thank you very much for the warm welcome, and good morning, everyone, from the Regional English Language Office of the U.S. Embassy in Nur-Sultan. Happy holidays. Very happy to be with you here today for your conference. As introduced, I'm John Silver, and you covered pretty much everything that I do and that I have done. I will be talking with you for, I think, about 15 minutes about our professional development programs. Before I do, though, I have a very, very special guest today who is excited to be with us and who wanted to give you a few holiday wishes herself. So I'd like to introduce my mom, Judy Halstead, who is also a teacher of English and a person who really loves Kazakhstan.
I do. Hello, I'm really glad to be included in your conference today for a few minutes. My name is Judy Halstead, and I live in California in the United States. I'm here visiting for 3 weeks, a little over 3 weeks, in cold, snowy Kazakhstan. It's been great. My background is I have been a teacher for about 40 years on a wide range of grade levels, and particularly in the last 15 years of my career or so, it was all reading specialist work with young people, all grade levels. And I have also been fortunate enough, when I have visited the countries that my son John has worked in, I was allowed to do some work, in fact, in Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, Azerbaijan, other countries as well. I would do workshops helping teachers make lesson plans. That you were just talking about lesson plans, how important and really carefully laid out they need to be. And I did some help with that some years ago. I want to wish you all happy holidays. My wishes for you and all of the students and teachers in your country is to have a healthy and happy 2022. Keep teaching. When I go home, people like to ask about you, and I tell them what you are all doing. It's a bridge to our countries, and I really find that it's important that we share information together. So Happy New Year, Christmas also for you, and it was thrilling for me to be here.
Thank you very much, Mom. Okay, so without further ado, we will move into the business of the Regional English Language Office.
Just sit here now.
We have a slideshow prepared for you, but before we get into the slideshow, I would like to tell you about some of the things that are upcoming that we're excited about and we would like to invite you to. Of course, the ATENK conference that I think that you're planning for June. We're very excited about that and hope that it can go ahead in person, and the Relo office is planning to be there if we can. A couple of other new projects that we have upcoming is a brand new English for Media Literacy project. As you know, the Relo office has been working with media literacy for the last couple of years. In January and February, we will be launching that program. We're looking for facilitators. If you've worked previously as a facilitator with that project and would like to do so in the future, be happy to hear from you. And we'll be looking for participants throughout the year too. We'll reach about 500 teachers over the course of the 10-month project. Another project that we have upcoming is for teachers who work with students in inclusive classrooms or who have special needs students. This will be an online training that we will run, I think from January it's about 2 or 3 months. So if you or a colleague that you know works with students who have some disabilities, you can reach out to us and we would be happy to include you in that project. Okay, so let's move over to the general part of our programming. If you're familiar with the Regional English Language Office, you know that we work mostly with English language teacher training with secondary and university teachers. We have some things that we do directly with students or pupils, but our main mission is to serve and to work with you as teachers. Can we go to the next slide, please? Great. The English Language Fellow Program. We currently in Kazakhstan have 2 English Language Fellows. August Garnsey, who lives here in Nur-Sultan, he works at Eurasia National University. We also have Seth Sinclair, who's in Almaty. He works with the City Department of Education and Orlyo. These professionals are available to work with you on specific projects, either online or in person. They do have travel funding. So if you have an event or you'd like to do something with an American professional, they're available to you. So if you have like seminars or regional teacher training, or you'd like to do something to invite them, please let us know and we can help. It costs nothing to work with this program. Okay, next slide. Next slide. Specialist, sorry. Sorry, we can go back to specialists. I'm sorry, I didn't see that it went to, there we go. English language specialists are also American professionals who work on shorter term projects. Most of the specialists that we have in Kazakhstan are working either virtually or come to Kazakhstan on short projects for a couple of weeks. The inclusive or special needs project that I mentioned, this is a virtual specialist project. If you would like to do something with a virtual specialist that involves teacher training or curriculum development, maybe some of you were involved in the Pedagogical University Development Project that was run through the Relo office. This was also a specialist project. So if you have an idea about something that needs some really special technical work, a specialist could be for you. And these are also available completely free. Next slide. English Access Micro Scholarship. I'm guessing that there are probably some people in the audience who have been a part of the Access program. Access currently has about 20 groups across the country with 500 students. Something new that we're doing now is working with pedagogical students, so pre-service teachers. And we have these programs for students who attend universities or vocational schools. Right now, the program is full. We're not looking for new sites at this time. In the spring, though, we will. It looks like someone is maybe drawing on the screen. If we could maybe ask the administrator to turn off, I think it's annotations. You might want to do that so there isn't any more writing on the screen. The Access program, we will be looking for some new sites in the spring. So if you're interested in being an Access provider or a teacher, you can reach out to us. Next slide, please. Okay. So MOOCs, massive open online courses. I really need to ask the administrator that you probably want to turn off annotations, because it looks like someone is playing with the system here. If it looks like there's maybe something else that appears on the screen that isn't pleasant, we will have to shut down my part of the presentation. So open courses. Open is the online professional English network, and it comes in two different types. Open is available for an 8-week course, which we nominate teachers to. It's quite challenging. The teachers who finish it receive a certificate of completion from US University. We are currently looking for people who would want to be a part of the open course. Maybe some of you might know this as e-teacher. So if you're interested in doing that, that's possible too. Let's see. We also have our MOOCs. The MOOCs are available for everybody. Anyone who wants to take this course can do it for free. And you can register and sign up yourself. Okay, so the next slide. Actually, I just described the open course. I think I got ahead of myself. So this is the description for the open courses. And if you would like to be a part of open, and to register for this comprehensive and sometimes challenging course, you can reach out to us too. Okay, next slide. American English Live, the webinars. Webinars are a great way to get started with our programs. They are, of course, like everything else, free. You can self-register for them. If you participate in 4 of the 6 courses, you get a certificate from us. And as you can see, some of these are some really, really great courses. The top one here, presentations, Skim Scan Run. The presenter is Kevin McCoy, who is a regional English language officer, and Heather Benucci, also a great professional. Some other people who we have down here, presentation on task-based reading activities by Mina Gavel, who was an English language fellow in Uzbekistan. The What Is It About? Supporting Reading Text on March 16th, Lottie Baker, who's also a current regional English language officer. Some very, very highly qualified professionals with great presentations for you to learn from. You can also share these with your students. If you are a teacher in a university, maybe in a pedagogical department, these are a great way to show your students some of our professional development opportunities. Okay, so next. American English Online. So American English Online is our website where you can go to find out all of the information that I've been talking to you about today, but you can also get lots and lots of free help for your classroom. There's Forum Magazine that many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with, teaching comics and graphic novels, podcasts, downloads, books, all sorts of things that you can use in the classroom. It's a really, really great resource. Next slide. The Relo Facebook page. Our Relo Facebook page has pretty much doubled in size over the last couple of years. So it's also a really good place where you can go to find out the latest information about what the Relo office is doing, announcements about some of the programs that I've mentioned, like the English for Media Literacy, and you can stay up to date with us there. Next. And finally, our contact information. You can see all of the links that are available there. I'm guessing that your ATENK administrators will be able to share the slideshow with you, so you can just click on those links and find out more. You can see our email address, reloadnersultan@state.gov. If you reach out to that email and you have a question about any of these programs, we will get back to you quite soon. We're very responsive with our emails. With that, I think that's it for my presentation, unless there are any questions. I'm scanning the chat. I don't see, other than the very warm welcomes to me and my mom. Thanks a lot. I don't see that there are any questions here. Does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask me now?
I would like to say thank you, John, and Relo office in Kazakhstan for this opportunity to participate in such kind of programs for educators. Personally, I have participated in open program, former e-teacher program. It was about professional development for teacher trainers. So this course offered a variety of topics of different spheres of teaching, from using educational technology to organizing professional development courses for teachers. And the course I selected was about teacher training, and it was designed for both new and experienced teachers, gave the methods for creating, presenting, and evaluating effective teacher training workshops. I had a great experience to participate in this program, and I would like to say you again, thank you for this opportunity to do it for Kazakhstani teachers.
Thank you, Ilina. Thank you very much for participating and for your words of support for the program. I'm
Good
very
luck to all of you. Good luck to all of you.
Very happy that you were able to participate in that program.
John, thank you so much. I have a question. Can we share your presentation with the rest of the teachers via email?
Sure, without question. Please share it widely, Albina.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year, and thank you for your mom and joining us. Welcome to Kazakhstan.
Thank you.
Thanks
I
a
hope
lot.
it's not here.
Say it again, Albina. It sounds like our internet connection isn't that great. Any other questions? I'm not sure how much time we have, but I can close it down if you'd like, or we can keep going with the questions. It's up to you. I get him. Did you have a question?
So I guess if we have no questions, we may turn to the next speaker, right?
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. I want to wish you a happy new year. I wish you success and health and wealth in the new year. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. So, and right now we have the next speaker. It's Zhadyra Ibrayeva from schools in Parassat. So she's going to tell you about engaging critical thinking skills in the process of teaching English. So, Zhadyra, can you share your screen with the participants?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good day, my dear colleagues. I'm Zhadyra Zhambulatовna. I'm Ibrayeva Zhadyra Zhambulatовna. I am a teacher of school IC in Parassat. And first of all, I'd like to congratulate you on coming new year. So I wish you a great health and endless happiness. My presentation is engaging critical thinking skills in the process of teaching EFL. So, as we know, teachers are focused on learner-centered approach. Learner-centered approach encourages critical
Zhadyra,
thinking
excuse me, can you share the full screen, please, of your presentation? Not just the draft, but the full screen. Start from the beginning, please.
Can you see my presentation?
Yes, but click F5 to in order we can see the full screen of your presentation.
I should send you this presentation?
No. Click on F5 and we can see the full screen of your presentation.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. So, as we know that the teachers are focused on learner-centered approach. Learner-centered approach encourages critical thinking skills. Therefore, we should support our learners to possess these critical thinking skills in our modern life. So, as we know, the learner-centered approach, it's an approach that we should guide and facilitate our learners to research their learning in their own way and comprehend their learning in their own way. So, the first, I want to discuss you these questions. What is critical thinking? Why is it important nowadays? And what are some easy ways to make critical thinking parts of teaching and learning language? So first, let's discuss what does critical thinking mean to you? Can you give me your ideas? Maybe you can turn on your microphone and discuss this. What does critical thinking mean to you? Maybe you write on chats. So, what does critical thinking mean to you? Let's discuss it.
Good morning. So to me, critical thinking is that I want to say something about critical thinking. So I thought that critical thinking might be the ability to think about something objectively, not subjectively, without inclining your attitude towards it, but thinking of it in different sides, not only from one angle, but from different angles.
Yes, yes, you're right. Yes, anybody else? Okay, yes, you're right. Critical thinking refers to high order thinking. What? So critical thinking refers to higher order thinking skills that learners need to enable effectively and rationally about what they want to do and what they believe is the best action. And it consists of analyzing points of view, evaluating arguments, yes, giving conclusions, so making assumptions, criticizing and analyzing. So, and it's a crucial and vital topic in our modern life, critical thinking. So learners who think critically can organize thoughts, ask relevant questions, give their ideas beyond the particular topic, gather relevant information, creatively sort through information, come to reliable questions, and solve complicated problems. And nowadays, we know that our updated learning aimed at critical thinking skills, yes, because in our books, we come across with these activities that learners should accomplish using their critical thinking abilities. So why is critical thinking important nowadays? Please give me your ideas. What do you think about this? Why is critical thinking important nowadays?
Well, we teach our students to think critically, especially in the IELTS lessons, so they can have ideas when they're given a certain topic. And I heard from most of the students or most of the candidates of the IELTS that they got low scores because they didn't get any ideas on the topic while on the test. So I think it's something related to critical thinking that gives more ideas about the subject.
Yes, yes, I agree with you. Yes, and also, in my point of view, critical thinking is vital topic in nowadays because, according to suicides among our teenagers, we see that they can solve their problems in their own way. So that is why we teachers educators should use these critical thinking abilities more in their classroom, in their lessons more effectively, to support them to solve their problems, to overcome any obstacles in any case. So maybe if we implement these critical thinking skills in our lessons, maybe we can help them, yes, not to do these suicides, yes, because our Kazakhstan come across this. So that is why we should use these critical thinkings more effectively in our lessons. So, and it's a vital topic in modern life, yes, crucial topic, yes. And also these critical thinking skills helps our learners to be more motivated in our lessons. And because it's the 21st century, yes, and also as we know in mass media, and there are so many messages, useful messages and not useful messages, yes. So, and we should support our learners amid some messages and perceive some messages that useful for them, amid the messages what is not useful for them, and perceive the message what is useful for them. And I want to mention that critical thinking supports our learners to be literate in mass media, yes, in media, so to think critically. So we have, yes, critical thinking enables students to better express their thoughts, ideas, and beliefs. Yes, so great. And now the next. Oh, I'm sorry. What? I have a problem with my laptop. Can you hear me?
Yes, but we cannot see your slides. The full screen of your slides, we cannot see.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So how can we help learners to think critically? So and in our lessons we can use Bloom's taxonomy. Yes, it's a great way to arrange, to organize our lesson plan. Yes, so because this Bloom's taxonomy consists of lower order thinking skills and higher order thinking skills. Higher order thinking skills as a creating, evaluating, analyzing is a great way to cultivate critical thinking skills in our lesson effectively and productively. And what some easy ways to make critical thinking part of teaching and learning language? So now I take several activities which I implement in my classes. The first activity is facts and opinion. Facts and opinion is the activity that differentiate between fact and opinion. So fact is a proven, yes. Opinion cannot be proven. Cannot be proven. It's the expression of point of view or expression of point of view or opinion, yes, of somebody. So let's do this with you. For example, for instance, my mom is the best mom on the earth. What do you think? It's fact or opinion? And you should explain it, why it's fact or opinion.
It's your opinion, because it's your thoughts. You know your mom, and it's your opinion.
Yes, yes. Okay, my dad is taller than your dad. What do you think? It's fact or opinion?
In this case, it's fact.
Yes, how we can explain it?
Because we can compare two people, who is taller, who is shorter.
Yeah, thank you for your answer. Yes, great. My telephone, I'm sorry, here mistake. My telephone number is difficult to memorize.
Sorry to interrupt you. Could you show us the slide, please?
How to show?
The slide about facts and opinion. I cannot see, or maybe just, is it only me that I cannot see, or what about others?
Can you show? Can you see my presentation?
We can
Only
see the slide. Why? Yes, the fifth
slide.
one. Why is critical thinking important nowadays? Only this question. Oh, that's
this,
it.
yeah. Now
Thank
it's
you.
Now, can you see? Can you see it?
Yeah, that's fine. Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
Can you give me your ideas? My telephone number is difficult to memorize.
It's just opinion, I think, because it's difficult to memorize for some people, not for all of them, for all people. That is why it's opinion. Just.
Yes, great. So the next, look, the deepest part of the ocean is 35,813 feet deep. What do you think? It's fact or opinion?
This is fact.
This is fact.
It was proven. It was proven by scientists, and
yes,
this is fact.
Yes. So we see that with this activity we can help our learners to explain, yes, why, how this is can proven and how they cannot proven. They can explain it with their ideas, yes, with their opinions, and their critical thinking skills. So, and what do you think? What Bloom's taxonomy we use this? Evaluating, yes?
Zhadyra, can you share the screen again? We have some internet connection problems and we can see your presentation right now. Okay, thank you.
Can you see my presentation? Please answer
Yes,
me,
yes,
please.
we may see.
So the next activity, who is my hero? So this activity helps our learners. We can with this activity we can find out what heroes, what people embodies our learners. Yes. What people are their ideals and what value in their actions. Yes, we can know about with this activity, and they can know each other's ideas, what embodies their what heroes embodies in their life. So the first, what is the definition of a hero? Who is the true hero to me? Why do I see this person is heroic? What do I learn from my hero? So also this activity is more helpful for cultivating critical thinking skills. So the next activity, the next activity, role plays and verbal communication. I want to show you this. You should put the students in small groups or teams to maximize speaking time for all. Vary the task to make it interesting, give learners choices, and use active learning. So look at this. I think it's interesting task for our learners because they should choose one of these. We should give these cards for our learners, and they should work in groups. So they should work in groups and solve these problems, solve this card. For example, let's take the card D. Maybe we'll do this. We will accomplish this. Your family is very sick. One person has a cold, one person has a broken hand, and one person had the hiccups. What will you feed them to help them feel better? Maybe you discuss with each other. Your family is very sick. Card D. What will you feed them to help them feel better? Card D. Your family is very sick. Can we discuss this, card D? Your family
Can you
is
show
very
us
sick.
that slide, please?
Can you see it?
Yes, yes.
So card D, your family is very sick. One person has a cold, one person has a broken hand, and one person has a hiccups. What will you feed them to help them feel better? How will you feel them? Maybe you give your ideas. To help them feel better. What will you feed them? Any ideas? No? Okay. So this activity helps our learners to overcome their problems, yes? Also to solve their problems. So problem solving. The next activity is problem solving. Problem solving is an activity that helps our learners, as I mentioned, to overcome their obstacles. This activity you should give different problems to different learners, allow for open-ended solutions, encouraging respect for other point of view and ways of thinking, let learners create puzzles and problems. So look at this. Can you see it? Can you see this presentation?
No, we only see the cars.
Problem solving activity.
No. We see the 11th slide. Thinking about food.
Turn on to the 12th slide, please. The next slide.
Okay. Problem solving activity. So it's called Lost at Sea. So each group is in a live boat and lost at sea. Each group has a book of matches and things from the ship that sank. So group A, group B. So they should rank the items in order of importance, first individually and then in a group. So maybe we will do this task. Let's take group B, yes? Group B, what is the most important for you? Can you rank the items in order of importance? Maybe you'll write on chats.
First of all, I would like to take with me freeze-dried food. I think that it's necessary to eat something.
The first, yes? Okay.
Yes, the first.
Maybe the second.
The second one, I would take a satellite radio, just for not to be bored.
Okay, great job. So for me, I will take the shark repellent. Maybe if I lost at sea, maybe I will meet with the sharks and I will need this shark repellent. So the first. So nobody's okay. So and so I want to say that these activities helps our learners. This activity helps us teachers to support our learners to possess these critical thinking skills. And I would like to say you that cultivating critical thinking skills is essential for our country to become more competitive. Because if we want to see our country more independent, more competitive, more prosperous, we should educate our learners to be more independent and to be more competitive. And to possess these critical thinking skills. And I want to say my colleagues, that we shouldn't concentrate, or we should teach our learners not to concentrate on their on them. Yes, we should concentrate them on their results, to achieve their results. Also, we teach our learners to be literate in grammar, to be literate in reading, in pronunciation. Yes, but we should also support our learners to concentrate on their results, to achieve their goals, to succeed in their life. And I say that we should implement these critical thinking skills to support our learners to succeed in their life. So, thanks. Thanks for your attention.
So thank you, Zhadyra, for your presentation and sharing your experience. It was very informative and helpful for teachers, I guess. So, and the last word, the last speaker, it's me. So I would like to greet you, dear colleagues. My name is Alexandra, Ilina, as you remember, and I am foreign language teacher in Petropavlovsk, school number 8. So, and today my presentation is devoted to my experience of participating in the open or former e-teacher program sponsored by the US Department and RELO in Kazakhstan. And also I would like to share with you my 4-step approach to conduct teacher training or workshop. So First, let's talk about what is open and what does this course offer. So the Open Online Professional English Network, or program global online courses from American English teacher program sponsored by the US Department of State. And these program courses provide innovative distance learning experience that uses the logical concepts and issues in the English as a foreign language field and connect participants with the US English language teaching experts all over the world. So the open courses offered a variety of topics of different spheres of teaching, from using educational technology to organizing professional development for teacher trainers. So if you want to participate in this program, you must submit your application, as John Silver already said. So the course I selected was Professional Development for Teacher Trainers, provided and delivered by Arizona State University. And the main outcome of the course is to have participants apply teacher training tools and strategies for effective training in the local context. So this course runs for 8 weeks, and in order to complete the modules, you expect to spend around 6 or 10 hours each week preparing and actively participating in the course. So, and right now, let me turn to my 4-step approach to teacher training. So, as you can see on this slide, there are 4 steps to conduct teacher training. So the first step is classroom teacher, vice versa teacher training. The second step is setting up topics and objectives of your future training. The third step is ways to engage teachers to participate in your future training. And the last but not the least, a final teaching training plan. So let's talk about the first step. Firstly, you need to differentiate and see the difference between classroom teaching and teacher training. So let's discuss and think about your workshop you may conduct. So let's think about it and write 5 words come to your mind. What are the first 5 words you can think of when you think about the teacher training? So you may turn on your microphone or write some ideas in the chat box. So think about your workshop or workshop you would like to participate in, and what 5 words come to your mind. Let's discuss it right now. Do you have any ideas? I have some examples on the slide. My 5 words are constant, enriching, reflective, maintaining, and collaborative. So I would like you to share your ideas. Engaging, okay. Any other? What word can you associate with the workshop or teacher training? Experienced, okay, practical, great. Some other ideas? Knowledge, So it may be adjectives, verbs, nouns, it doesn't matter. Share knowledge, Time management, thank you. Educational, great. So any other ideas, any other synonyms you may associate with a workshop or teacher training? Enhancing. Okay, so enlarging experience. Challenging, yes, sometimes it can be challenging. Collaboration. Okay, so colleagues, thank you for your responses. So right now let's try to compare classroom teaching and teacher training. So as you can see on this slide, I've prepared for you 6 points how classroom teacher differs from teacher training. It can be in audience, of course, assessment, attendance, class length, evaluation, and classroom management. You may look it through and maybe do you have your own ideas how classroom teaching differs from teacher training? What is the main difference between these two processes? So if we talk about audience, the classroom teacher gives language knowledge to students. If we talk about training, we give some experience, we share experience or give some knowledge to teachers, to our colleagues, right? So do you have any other ideas how they may differ? You may write some ideas in the chat box or turn on your microphone and give your ideas to the participants. There is, okay, if we have no ideas, let's turn to the next step. When we look through the difference between classroom teaching and teacher training, you may use these 6 points to differentiate them, and then you may start filling your toolbox by choosing the main activities of your future workshop. So the next step is to choose your favorite favorable activities, which you may use in your future training. It's called start filling your toolbox. It may be jigsaw reading, word bank, graphic organizers, lesson plan mixed up, or jigsaw vocabulary, and etc. Any activities you would you like the most. So the next step, the second step, when you associate yourself with a teacher training, see the difference between classroom teaching and teacher training, you need to set up possible training topics and objectives. So what are some possible professional development topics? Let's think about your teaching context and think about the students in your class, in your classes, the other teachers in your school, and what areas of teaching practice you would like to develop. What kinds of professional development topics you think other teachers in your school could use? Let's think about it. And you make a list of 3-5 possible topics of professional development. You may write only one if you want. So what possible professional development topics are interested to you? Let's think about this. If you have a chance to create the teacher training, what topic would you choose? Assessment, okay. The procedure of assessment, right? Formative, summative assessment. Okay, any other ideas? You may also turn on your microphone and say it. You may also associate your training with the distance learning. It's an urgent topic nowadays. How to set up a criteria for assessment, yes, that's right. blended learning. Okay. Any other topics? Professional burnout. How to avoid or how to reduce, right? Professional burnout. How to overcome it. Yes, that's right. How to teach speaking skills due to remote learning. Okay. Very interesting topic. Colleagues, feel free to share your topics. Okay, so when you made a list of possible professional development topics, the next step is to choose one of the training topics you listed. You need to choose one of your topics, and after that, you need to set up the goals which you would like to achieve at the end and in the process of your training. So you need to choose the first step and then think about what you would like to achieve in the training topic. What do you want your participants to be able to do by the end of your training? So the next step, the third step, you need to think about ways to engage teachers in training and workshop. It's really urgent topic because sometimes teachers can be not so active, and we need to think about the most productive and effective ways to engage them, to collaborate, to work together. So look at this graphic organizer on the next slide, and I would like you to choose 3 engagement tips. So I've prepared 10 ways to engage students. You may see them on the slide, and I would like you to choose 3 of them. 3 ways, and maybe explain your choice. Why would you like to choose these ways to engage teachers in your teacher training, and why? We have here balanced instruction, questioning techniques, critical thinking, authentic materials, and so on. Do you see my presentation? Tell me, please. Colleagues, do you see the presentation right now? Okay, so choose right now 3 ways to engage teachers in the workshop and explain your choice. You may choose only one way if you would like. No ideas? So personally, I would like to choose practice, do, and create. It's my favorable one way. So I think if we want to do the best, we need to practice. Practice, do something, and it comes to success for us. What is your opinion? What way would you choose to engage students or teachers? to participate or collaborate? Friendly report, yes, it's creating comfortable environment, right? Okay, yes, it's really important to create a comfortable environment that in order teachers feel free to share their ideas, to collaborate with each other, to work together, and to create something new. Okay, any other ways? Critical thinking. Okay, can you explain questions and instruction balance? Yes, that's right. We should try to reduce teacher talking time and increase students talking time, or our participants talking time. It's 80-20 rule. When students or teachers who participate in your training talk 80% of time and you talk only 20% of time. Okay, so thank you for your ideas. And at the last but not the least stage, you need to write your final teacher training plan. I suggest you to pay attention on such key question words as where, what, who, how, why, and when. So, what do this question mean? What do you think? These are the key questions you may use in your final teacher training plan. What do they mean? Where, what, who, when, why, and how. Do you have any ideas how this question may help you to conduct and to create your teacher training plan? You may see the sample on the slide and try to guess. Yes, you may ask yourself these questions and write the plan by these points. Okay, any other? So, thank you very much for your responses. So surely today we have not enough time to consider teacher training in details and more specifically, but it is possible to have a general form of it, and I hope I'll give you. So as a reflection, I ask you to follow the link at the Google form. I will send this link right now in the chat box and fill in 10-15 minutes. My presentation, also I will share with you materials of my presentation. You may download it and use it in your work. So just a couple of seconds, I will share with you a link for reflection. And this is a link for materials you may use in your work. You may download them and use in your preparation for teacher training or for your work and so on and so forth. So colleagues, that's the end of our second virtual conference today. So I appreciate you participate in this conference, be active and engaged in this conference. So thank you so much. I wish you a good day and goodbye. Thank you. If you have something to add, something to say, you may do it right now. You may turn on your microphone by the end of our healthy. Thank you for your words. So thank you, colleagues. I would like to say thank you again and wish you a good day, good new year, and goodbye.